Welcome back to F4U. In this particular video we are going to discuss about finding the algorithm analysis, right? So we will basically find the time complexity of code snippets. So several times we come across some scenarios where we are given a code and that code has some for loop or while loops, right? Basically loops. We will focus on loops in this particular video. Now how do we find the time complexity of the code in that case? So the fundamentals are very simple. Okay. Before we proceed, the very specific thing to be kept in mind is that the time complexity of the code in such situations where they have loops will depend upon the number of times the loop is getting executed. Okay, so without further delay, let us quickly begin this particular example wherein we have a function that receives a value n and then it proceeds its execution. So let us suppose n is equal to 20, right? So let us suppose that we pass the value n equal to 20. Now the function starts its execution. Two variables are declared, I is equal to 1 and s is equal to 1. Now the condition is while s less than equal to n, which means that this loop will be executed as long as s is less than equal to n. So initially we had s equal to 1, n is 20, it is true, right? So s less than equal to n, so it is true. So if it is true, we will enter and perform I plus plus. So what will I become? 2. S is equal to s plus I. S is 1 initially, plus I is 2. 1 plus 2 is 3. 3 less than equal to n, true. Again get inside the loop. I plus plus. I becomes 3. S becomes 6 because 3 plus 3 is 6. 6 is less than equal to 20, true. Again enter. I becomes 4 because I plus plus. S becomes 10. This is again true because 10 is less than 20. Again we increment I because we entered the loop. S becomes 15. This is also true because 15 is less than 20. Again we enter the loop. Again we do I plus plus. Again S plus I. Now 21 less than equal to 20, it is false. We will stop here. So what is the stopping criteria? The stopping criteria says that when S is greater than n, you have to stop. Okay. When S becomes greater than n, you have to stop. So we are now going to find out the time complexity of this code. How do we find that? Now you see, we know that the stopping criteria is S greater than n. What is the sum? Can you have a general expression for the sum? If you carefully observe, let me change the color of the ink. If you carefully observe the pattern, you will find that this sum depends on the value of I. How? When the value of I is 1, sum is the sum of all the elements from 1 to 1. That is 1. When I is 2, sum is the sum of all the elements from 1 to 2. Means 1, then it was 1 plus 2. Okay, in the first iteration the sum was 1. In the second iteration the sum becomes 1 plus 2. In the third iteration the sum becomes 1 plus 2 plus 3. In the fourth iteration sum becomes 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4. You can see. Third iteration the sum becomes 1 plus 2 plus 3, which is 6. Fourth iteration sum becomes 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4, which is 10. Which means that suppose the loop stops at kth iteration. Okay, the stopping criteria. Suppose the loop stops at kth iteration, then the sum at that instant will be 1 plus 2 plus 3 till k, isn't it? If the loop stops at kth iteration, then the sum at the kth iteration will be sum of all the elements from 1 to k, which is nothing but k into k plus 1 by 2, right? So now what to do next? So if you carefully observe, the stopping criteria says that it will stop when sum is greater than n, right? It will stop when the sum is greater than n. Now what is the value of s? The value of s, we found that this is the sum k into k plus 1 by 2, a general expression we derived, k into k plus 1 by 2, where suppose we have assumed that it will stop in the kth iteration greater than n. Okay, so it becomes nothing but k square plus k greater than 2n. Okay, now if you have studied the basics of notations, right, the big O notations or omega notations, you must be knowing that we basically try to consider the dominating term, right? So here it has k square plus k, but we know that we will consider only k square because this is the term that is going to decide. This is the least order term and this is the higher order term. K square we will be considering from here, k square, okay, greater than. Now 2 into n, 2 is a constant, you can ignore it, so we'll just consider on this factor n. So basically you will find that the time complexity is you know, root n. Why root n? Because k will become square goes that side, it becomes root, right? So now k means k will k square is greater than n. Okay, so you get k time k of order n, order of root n, right? Isn't it? Because if you take the square that side, it becomes root n. So basically k becomes of order root n. And what is k? K means the number of times the loop has got executed before it stopped. So basically that we also know that we already discussed that time complexity of the code will depend upon the number of times the loop gets executed, right, before it stops. So how many times did the loop get executed? Obviously the k times, right, before it gets stopped, because in the kth iteration the loop terminated. And what was the order of k? Root n. So time complexity is order of root n. Okay, the time complexity is order of root n for this code, right, because we found that k is order of root n, and k itself says that it is the iteration number of iterations before stopping, right? Alright, let us move to this new problem. Again, here we have the function, it receives the value n. Suppose n is equal to 5. Now the loop here is for loop. We will just focus on how many times the loop is getting executed. So loop gets executed from I is equal to 1 and till I square is less than equal to n. Okay, and I plus plus. Fine. What is the stopping criteria? The stopping criteria is I square greater than n, isn't it? We know that this loop will get executed as long as I square less than equal to n is true. When will it get stop? When will it stop? It will basically stop when I square becomes greater than n, and that means when I is of order root n. Get the point? So this loop will stop when I is of order root n, right? So the time complexity for this code is order of root n. Alright, so this basically means that only, isn't it, that how many times the loop is getting executed. So the loop here basically gets executed, okay, order root n times, and that is the time complexity of this specific code. Coming to the third problem, quite interesting. Here we have 3 loops and those are nested. Okay, so first for loop here, second for loop here, third for loop here. Please pay attention, they are the nested loop. Nested. Now how to find the complexity in case of nested loops? So basically we will begin with the outer for loop. So here we are receiving some value n. Okay, no problem. Now we begin our execution from I is equal to n by 2 till I less than equal to n. So n by 2 to n. How many times? Basically n by 2 times, isn't it? N by 2 till n. So if you find the difference, it is n by 2 times. So basically this loop gets executed n by 2 times. Get inside. From j is equal to 1 to until j plus n by 2 is less than equal to n. So you have a condition here, this one, please pay attention. J plus n by 2 is less than equal to n. What does it mean? J plus n by 2 less than equal to n, which means nothing but j less than equal to n minus n by 2. J less than equal to n by 2, which means from j is equal to 1 till j less than equal to n by 2 and j plus plus, incrementing 1 at each step. So basically you are again executing n by 2 times. I hope you got the point. From j is equal to 1 to j less than equal to n by 2, and at each step you are incrementing by 1, right? So the number of times this second for loop gets executed is n by 2 times. Now coming to the third part. If you focus on the third for loop, then k starts from 1 and k less than equal to n. It's fine, alright. K starts from 1, k less than equal to n, but here the increment is not 1 at each step. Here the value of k becomes double at every step, which means that we start with k is equal to 1, then it will become k equal to 2, then it becomes k equal to 4, then it becomes k equal to 8, 16 and so on. Okay, as long as k is less than equal to n, it will continue. So suppose it gets executed p times. Okay, p times till 2 power p. So you can see this is following the pattern 2 power 0, 2 power 1, 2 power square, 2 cube. Okay, suppose it continues till 2 power p. Okay, before stopping. So 2 power p is equal to n. Okay, suppose the last time it executed the loop was at point p. 2 power p is equal to n. Applying log both sides, p log 2 is equal to log n. P is equal to log n base 2. Okay, which means how many times did this loop get executed? Log n times. Getting the point? What we assume? We assume that okay, the last time the loop gets executed, that time it will be of power 2 power p. The value here will be of some power 2 power p. At that time it will stop. That means at that time it will become 2 power p is equal to n. Okay, the last time it will get executed. So total times it gets executed is p times. So how will you find the value of p? We will apply log both side, p log 2 Okay, log 2 power p means p log 2 is equal to log n. Okay, and p is equal to log n base 2, so means log n times. Now what is the overall time complexity? So the overall time complexity of this code is, since it is a nested for loop, then you will find the product of all the terms, okay, from the first for loop, second for loop, third for loop, means n by 2 into n by 2 into log n order. Okay, but you will just generally will ignore these constant terms. Okay, 1 by 2 are constant terms, you can ignore them. The complexity is order n square log n. Okay, the base is 2. So this is the complexity of this specific code. I hope you understood how to find that. Okay, how we found this was interesting. Okay, whenever you come across such cases when the value is starting from 1 till less than equal to n, and at every step the value of k becomes double, so directly you can conclude that it will execute log n times. And we have already proved that suppose k is equal to 1, the next iteration it becomes k equal to 2, next time it will become k equal to 4, means it is getting doubled, right? A power of 2. So suppose the last value when this condition was satisfied was at some power 2 power p, at some value 2 power p. So we did 2 power p is equal to n, because that time it will stop. So this is the last time the loop got executed at p when the value of k was 2 power p. Find the value of p, and that will only indicate that how many times this loop got executed, right? So and finally you can find the product of all these, and you will get the complexity. We basically ignore the constant terms. Okay, now if you consider this particular example, again it is quite similar. Concept remains the same. Again we have a function where we will receive a value f, well we will receive a value of n. Now the outer loop, if you focus, it starts from n by 2 until less than equal to n. So n by 2 to n, how many times will it get executed? N by 2 times, isn't it? N minus n by 2 will give you n by 2. So this loop got executed n by 2 times. And also one more thing to pay attention is, it is incrementing 1 at each step, 1 by 1, so it's fine, we can write n by 2. What about the second for loop? You can clearly see it starts from j equal to 1, j less than equal to n. So far so good, but again here it is getting doubled at each step, right? So it is starting from j equal to 1, again it will become 2j, means it will become 2, it will become 4, it will become 8, it will become 16, and so on, and it will go on as long as we find the condition this is true, j less than equal to n. Suppose last time it moves some power 2 power p, because all these are powers of 2, right? Suppose the last value was 2 power p, and at that time we saw that j less than equal to n was true, means 2 power p is equal to n. After that the condition will not be satisfied. So the last time the condition was satisfied was this point, suppose. So 2 power p is equal to n, log both sides, then we get p log 2 is equal to log n. So p is equal to log n base 2. What does it mean? It means that number of times it got executed was log n, order of log n, so log n times. Getting the point? I hope you understood how we calculated that. Same for here, for k equal to 1, k less than equal to n, k equal to k into 2. You can see these two loops are quite similar, right? Because every time it's starting with 1 till n, and every time it is getting doubled. Okay, so basically this will also get executed log n times. What is the overall time complexity? Since it is a nested for loop, right? Nested, you can clearly see. So time complexity overall is n by 2 into log n into log n. So you can ignore the constant term because it is 1 by 2, you can ignore it. So you will be having of order of n log square n. Getting the point? So I hope you understood how to find the time complexity in such scenarios. One last example to discuss here, quite interesting and very tricky. You have a function, you receive some value n, and it says that if n is equal to 1, then you just return, no problem. Focusing on the for loop, for I equal to 1, I less than equal to n, I plus plus. So this basically gets executed n times, right? From 1 to n, every time you are increasing a step, one step at a time, so it is n times. Okay, get inside. For j is equal to 1, j less than equal to n, j plus plus. Okay, now before you conclude that it will execute n times, we should pay attention to one more factor. What? If you look inside the loop, what it says is, if you look inside the loop, we will not conclude whether it will execute n times or not, because if you look at the structure of the loop, it has used a break statement, which means that for each value, for suppose I equal to 1, I less than equal to n, I plus plus, you know that it will execute n times. But how is it working? You will take one value of I, suppose for I is equal to 1, I will enter this side, j equal to 1, j less than equal to n, j plus plus. printf star and break, which means that this loop is not getting executed n times. Okay, it will just take the value of j equal to 1, it will enter, it will print the value of print star, and it will break. It will break means it will just go out of the for loop, means go back to this loop. So how many times is it getting executed? This particular statement is, this particular for loop is getting executed only once for each value of I. Getting the point? So this loop, the second for loop, is getting executed only once for each value of I. Okay, when I is equal to 1, it will enter, it will take j equal to 1, and it is less than equal to and true, it will go inside, it will print star, it will break. Break means it will not go again for j plus plus. Okay, it got executed only one time for each value of I. So this is getting executed only one times for each value of I. Overall time complexity is, since it is nested, so n dot 1, which is nothing but order of n. So the time complexity of this particular code is order n. Why this was not n? Because it had a break statement. So since it has a break statement here inside the loop, it means that it will iterate only once for j is equal to 1. Okay, and it will break in the sense it will go out of the second for loop. Again you will have some I equal to 2, you will enter, again for j equal to 1 it will print, again it will break, means for every value of I it is iterating only once, and the overall time complexity will be n into 1, that is order of n. So I hope this discussion was very helpful for you. In case of any doubt, you can always put your doubts in the comment section. Thank you.